Hello, investors. It is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Wednesday, July 9th, 4:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state, the market remains robust in an uptrend since those fall-through days. Take a look, trend gauge over here on the right side of the screen. Market leaders, very plentiful and acting great. Green arrow there, short term, trending above that 21 EMA. That power trend stays alive. Same message we've been saying for weeks. Medium term above the 50-day moving average as well, and long term above the 200-day moving average. And we have all bullish alignment for the moving averages right now with the 821.50 and 200-day all rising above each other. So what happened today? Well, Bitcoin, kind of the star of the show, clocking a new all-time high. Related equities, Coinbase, very strong. Other cryptos, Ethereum, Solana, all waking up. So, the market tends to act quite well when Bitcoin's breaking out, and it briefly clocked new all-time highs. So we'll see how it trades overnight. But again, good sign for the market. Here are the final numbers. 21 over 21 list up 1.37%, 16 green, 1 neutral, 4 red. Turbo 12 up 1.06%, 8 green, 1 neutral, 3 red. Big 8 up 1.05%. RG8 up 1.07%. S&P 500 up 0.61, equal weight up 0.3, QQQ up 0.71%, equal weight up 0.08%, Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.48%, mid caps up 0.42%, Russell 2000 again continues to exhibit relative strength up 1.08%, 60/40 stock and bond up 0.45%. Flagship portfolio, GROTECTION up 0.9% and TurboTection up 1.87% on the day. Let's get into the interasset correlation. And we'll start with chart of the S&P 500. And again, just continue to act extremely well and just continue to ride above the moving averages higher. And, could be short term, a little bit extended, right? We are 5.5% above the 50-day moving average. But again, just breaking out through that 61.47 previous all-time high. And again, up like 30% off the lows. But again, that signals strength more than anything. And throughout this period, subsequent follow-through days, you had the Wally breath thrust. So we remain bullish, and this chart looks healthy. In the keys, like we mentioned, just keep a watch on the 8 supports. It's respecting the 8 for days now. 21 sloping back up, same with the 50-day. So any pullbacks into these averages, previous all-time highs, would remain constructive. RSP equate, good to see this participating, continuing higher, nice trend. QQQ, again, 3-day pullback to the 8 and moving higher, up 0.71% on the day. Mag 7, again, looking to break out of this handle here, this big cup base. Dow Jones flagging here at the highs. We talk about 5-6 days up in a row, pulling back to the 8 EMA and flagging out. Mid caps continuing higher, coming into this 3,200 pivot here. But again, it's really good to see small, mid, large caps all participating. Just broadens the market breadth, and this one looks good for continuation. Russell 2000, super nice relative strength for the past 2 weeks now after getting back above the 200-day moving average. And like I mentioned in previous videos, IWM can vastly outperform at times for periods, and we're definitely seeing that right now. And this continues to look good. Again, would like to see these moving averages hold on a pullback, 2,200. But again, not much to comment, just really nice trend here. ARK breaking out of this consolidation, and again, good for risk-on assets. FFTY, upside reversal day today. VIX continues to bleed lower, sub 16, down 1.73% on the day. And we've been talking, as long as the VIX is living down here, just level by level, next stop is 15. And then we've seen in history, it can hit 14 and even 12 down here. This was in 2024, December of 2024. That was when the market really heated up to the upside. So for now, under 16 is great. The dollar potentially trying to put an undercut and reclaim of this 97, 92 level. I've read some stats. Positioning is very short the dollar. It's farthest stretch from the 200-day in years. And we take a look at the longer time frame. and you can almost, kind of draw a trend line here going back to 2008 lows, kind of retesting. And again, we just kind of keep an eye on the dollar. Sometimes when it bounces, it could be negative for gold or small caps. Just the correlations are constantly changing. On the topic of gold, trying to reverse here today. It's got a power of three. The 821.50 are all very tightly um, just really bunched up here. So this really could break either way. It isn't a big base. Could see it pop back up, maybe handle more or break lower out of this base. Gold stocks, again, upside reversal here off the 50-day today. Silver pulling back into the 21, still looks healthy. And then Bitcoin, the star of the show, super nice action on this one today, up 2.85% on the day. And this is a 5-star chart. And one thing I wanted to talk about with Bitcoin is there's been a lot of chatter about whether this setup is too obvious. And I don't think that matters. If you look at some of the best setups, some of the best base breakouts, they all tend to be obvious. NVIDIA's SMCI, APP, those are all perfect examples from 2024. And if we just look at this chart objectively and talk the facts, is we got a multi-month base after a super strong run in 2024. And on the weekly, this is a base on base pattern per se, right? Base here, another base here, and then almost another mini cup in this base. You have full bullish alignment of the moving averages, all trending up, and they're all trending above each other. There's a nice classic shakeout in the base off the 50-day here at 56.63. COT data, which is the commitment of traders data, that is showing that large speculators are actually bearish. So if you're a bull, that's good. Can add more fuel to the fire. Huge institutional support, right? With the influx of Bitcoin related ETFs in a pro administration, the volatility has actually died down on this asset. So, you might not get those as huge explosive moves, but also that's a good thing. A lot of institutions are putting Bitcoin in like a core portfolio. So the ATR is dampened and it might start to trade a little bit more linear and clean. And then next week is crypto week. So that's another potential catalyst to bring this higher. So many bull cases on Bitcoin right now and prices agreeing across all time frames. So excited about this one. We'll see if this can fall through into the rest of the week, but really good start today. Bonds, nice reversal off the 200-day. TLT, again, trying to pop back up. And that coincides with rates coming down. TYX, TNX as well. And we saw some rate sensitive sectors with some strength today as well. All right, that's the interest correlation. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Let's see. No big notable news today. There was FOMC minutes, but again, nothing huge there. And then again, just some more tariff comments. Today's keys, S&P versus the 8 EMA and all-time highs, green arrow there. Same with the Qs versus the 8 and the all-time highs. Then Russ 2000 versus the 8 in that 2249 level, which it closed back above. So all green arrows there on the keys. And then, going into tomorrow, going to be watching the same stuff. And then I added Bitcoin all-time high. So if this starts to break out, is this going to fall through? And that is to be determined. Day count up 12 days above the 8, 52 days above the 21 EMA. Kind of the action today, we had that morning drive off the open and then base and then had a nice end of day rally. S&P ATR down to 0.88% as well. Sectors wise, biotech, rates coming down, that benefited. And I've been seeing a lot of, ARCG, that's the Cathie Wood genomic ETF, that's seen a big move, some of those names. So, sectors starting to fire up. ITB builders strong today, Ethereum, DAPPs like a Bitcoin miners ETF as well, and then semiconductors. And then on the downside, China, oil, energy, real estate, regional banks slightly down. But again, it was very broad strength across the board today. Trades wise, GROTECTION bought a starter in Coinbase, 1.39 beta, 5.97% balance at risk. TurboTection, we bought ETHA and then we added on to the RBRK buy from yesterday. So 1.92 beta, 6.76% open heat. Bottom line, Bitcoin clocks a new all-time high and leaders remain robust. Let's get into the charts of interest. So GROTECTION bought coin today, and I've talked about this chart plenty, but again, this just looks phenomenal. It had a big move up on that stablecoin catalyst with the Genius Act, huge move up on huge volume, pulled back to the 8 EMA, flagged out, and now getting that range expansion here today. And I mean, across all time frames, massive weekly base, not even above 2021 highs. Monthly as well, huge base. So this looks really promising, and it's been acting like the best Bitcoin proxy as well. MSTR is just diluting so much that it hasn't been as great. But again, this is setting up too. This looks pretty good. So maybe this starts to break out with Bitcoin working. But again, Coinbase, you have that stable coin catalyst, Bitcoin breaking out, and then again, kind of the institutional platform for Bitcoin. All right, and we own that in TurboTaxation as well. And then trades in TurboTaxation, bought ETHA. Ethereum has actually been outperforming Bitcoin on a relative basis. And if you guys recall, we traded ETHA in TurboTaxation. We bought this uh, flag down here, rode it up, took profits, came all the way back down to the 50-day, and now set up and broke out from this clean pivot. So Ethereum looks great as well. And then RBRK. Bought this yesterday, kind of squatted, and then fired back up today off the 50-day and kind of, breaking this down trend line and, strong day. So see if this works. Clear level to risk off down here. And then one thing I want to talk about is using the weekly chart and the 10-week moving average. This was a leader from the April lows in the market, right? Total lockout. And then on a relative basis, you could say it was lagging, but again, normal consolidation. And this was the first undercut and reclaim of the 10-week moving average since that base breakout. And if you follow Neil, the first pullback to the 10-week moving average is always a buy. So added on to this one. This one looks good. And the cybersecurity industry group remains super strong, one of the best, right? Look at Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Net. So the whole group looks good, and RBRK is a recent IPO too. You can see this. Go to the weekly. Yeah, so first base and just breaking out of the second base. So that was trades today. Let's take a look at 21 over 21 last coin. Obviously covered that. Just powerhouse. CRDL, again, another powerhouse breaking higher out of this consolidation. This had a price target upgrade this morning to, I believe, it was 120. So nice follow through there. VST, these power, these utility names continuing higher. Briefly tap new all-time highs. Hood, not acting like a blow off. And again, it it didn't really look like too much of a bluff either. Obviously, the volume was concerning and a rejection of that 100 level, but the action since that day has been super good. And this one started to consolidate as well. Looks like it may want to move higher. And this also, Bitcoin strength helps Robinhood as well. Palantir again, another example, that first touch of the 10-week moving average. And this one's flying through. Really nice action that's just staying strong. Axon consolidating in the space, the highs. DoorDash consolidating at the highs, a little bit extended in that profit zone, so probably not viable here. Nvidia hit 4 trillion market cap today. Unbelievable, super strong new highs today. SoFi, another undercut and reclaim of prior day lows, looks good. Zscaler, cybersecurity stock, PWR consolidating at the highs. Shake Shack consolidating at the highs, and I believe Kava's been a laggard, but starting to perk back by the 50 days. So that's a good sign for the group. GEV, getting into that profit zone again, but just trending higher. We own this in both portfolios, trimmed down. So if this starts to give us a base or deeper pullback, would definitely be looking to add on back to a full size. CoreWeave closed right at the 21, been showing a little bit of relative weakness, but it's all on a relative basis because this was the strongest stock for a while, and this is a pretty normal pullback. Should hold this 150 and 21 EMA, so we'll see. Net holding at the highs, Spotify closing right at the 21, AVAV relative weakness, but set good earnings 4 days up in a row. So watching it against that high volume close from earnings day, and this might start to hook back up. CCJ consolidating, letting the 21 catch up. Uber inside day after this breakout this week. Light sitting at the 21, and then FCX inside day, after that copper tariffs really shot up. So not too bad there. Turbo 12 from winners to losers. Oos, this is actually a classical high type flag. 100% move from this breakout, and the depth of this pullback to the 21 has been less than 25%. One's falling through. These LiDAR stocks have been quite strong. AAOI flagging here. KTOS, again, aerospace and defense names not going away. Continues trend up here. Sedge, solar names are strong. We'll take a look at the ETF, right? TAN's forming a nice flag after a strong 3-day move up. And, that really tells you there's broad participation when you have things like solar holding up well, which the sector's been a dog for years now, but potentially bottoming out based on stage analysis and news failures because the news flow has just been horrible all year and prices refuse to go lower. Oh, skip one sec back to LEU. LEU again own this in TurboTection, potentially looking to add after trimming this one. Consolidating here right off the 21. Oddity consolidating, looking good. INOD looked like a failed breakout yesterday and then popping right back in. Sezzle, nice reversal today. Lemonade, undercut reclaim of the 21. Qubit, just pulling back on light volume. ASTS, Omnis Day, breaking the 21. But again, this had a big move. Just might need some more time. And then Dave pulling back to the 21 as well. So, 21 over 21 list and the Turbo 12 list looks good. Talk about other things. Toast, which we bought yesterday, fired back today. And that's just the nature. Some breakouts have been quite choppy and like Toast, for example, and then just shoots right back up today. But one breakout that's one of the best breakouts I've seen in some time is Futu. This is a Chinese brokerage company and huge base. Look at the weekly. I've done multiple podcast segments on Futu, just how I love the weekly base. This is kind of a weekly base on base pattern per se. And this one actually followed through in a big way today on volume. So up 9% on the day. In China, KWeb, not doing a whole lot sitting at the 50-day, but maybe starting to set up for a run. But again, that Futu was a super strong breakout. About the best acting China stock around right now. And then some other things I covered Nvidia, but Avgo clocking in new highs as well. This one remains extremely strong. ARM sitting at the 21 on this pullback, but one name that really popped up is ALAB today, which we traded this in 2024 on this earnings gap, had a super strong run, and then this had a big pullback that was fueled by DeepSeek. But again, this one started to come back up. Nice wedge pop here today into that $100 level. But again, this name has the earnings and the sales, and it trades really nice when it gets into a run. So maybe this one starts to turn around. Tried this in TurboTection the other couple weeks ago and got stopped as it came back into the 200-day. But this is certainly setting up once again. Take a look at the weekly. Had that 3 weeks tight right here. So this one looks good, and you kind of draw a level. This was like one of that kind of high from the initial IPO rip. So, and that's closing back above there for now. So good strength there. Home builders been eyeing this now as well. Had that big day up on that big rotation day, and then had 3-4 day pullback into the shorter term moving averages and pop back up today. Now's the ETF that we'd play with it. This one was up 10%, so a little bit extended after today. But again, still on watch and just continue see rotation in some of these other sectors while the ones that have been leading stay strong. KRE 4-day flag here after that move above the 200-day moving average. I covered Solar's TAN, and then obviously these look quite similar to small caps. Then one sector that also popped up of interest is biotech. Nice range expansion here today, coming back into the 200-day moving average. LABU's a way to play this. This again moves quite fast, up 11% on the day. But if you take a look at the weekly here, right, this has essentially been in a range for 3 years since 2022, and still not even close to 2021 highs. And likely this sector will have a day. Price will tell us, the application of AI into biotech and medicine will be huge. It's just a matter of when. ARCG, this is another one interesting ETF. This is Kathy's Genomic Revolution. Super strong day today. And some of these stocks are like this CRISPR, this trade's pretty liquid, 100 over 100 million daily dollar volume. This is breaking out of a huge double bottom base, huge stage one base, huge volume that's been flowing in. So might have to dig into the story on these ones, what's driving these ones, but price action is definitely telling, and it even had ants pop up right there. So yeah, definitely a lot. And then NXT, that's another solar I want to mention. The leader in the solar sector, recent IPO, and came back and retested the top of this base here. See if this one reverses higher. But again, super tons of strength out there right now. And, you know, can say we're a little bit extended. Names have made some pretty big moves, but again, best to just trust the stocks, trust the leaders, trust the indexes. No reason to get bearish until the trend changes. And that's kind of where our head's at right now. And good to see Bitcoin getting into gear right now. So see if that can follow through into the rest of the week. But overall, constructive day for the markets. And we'll see if it continues. That is going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. My email is connor@revereasset.com, or you can reach out to Dan or Donna at revereasset.com. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, as always, please reach out. And if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, comment. We respond to all the comments. So that said, hope you guys have a good evening and see you tomorrow.